Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/come to where I'm from. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated. Shout out, Pat.
Yeah, Pat.
Pat Seamus? Is that how you say his last name?
Seamus.
Higgins.
Seamus.
Pat Higgins.
Pat Seamus O'Higgins.
Oh, right. Pat Higgins. I'm thinking of his Instagram.
Patio Seamus O'Higgins.
Yeah. How's it going?
It's going good.
Your music is badass.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
man.
Do what I can.
But you have such a nice demeanor.
Thank you.
How do you explain that? You wouldn't expect it. Like, if you ever hung out with somebody and they expect, and you go, "Oh yeah, I make music," and they don't know your music, and then they hear your music and they're like, "Wow, I didn't expect that."
Yeah, I guess so. That does happen sometimes.
Does it?
Yeah. I guess it depends on what they're listening to, but
Right.
I can remember.
I'm thinking more Quicksand.
Yeah,
like,
Quicksand stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's pretty. I'm gonna take these off. I think because I can just hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't hear myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think because Quicksand is so kind of aggro in a way, or and I'm screaming.
Yeah.
So here's a guy that's yelling at you, and then
it's a
here's
melodic form of screaming.
Yeah, of course.
But is that like taking a certain aspect of your character and expressing it that you can't express normally, or something? Is it unearthing something that's repressed, or is it just what kind of music you like?
I guess if you're screaming, it's something that is trying to break through from a place that's trying to get out and really project loud. So if I were to say, yeah, it's something that's kind of in that needs to get out. But I think it just came from the kind of music that I came from, which was hardcore music, which was about screaming for like just that was the kind of anti like musical aspect of hardcore music that I liked, and that kind of, as I got better at playing and writing music, that's a transitional thing where you take that kind of aggressive side of things and try to make it a little bit more musical.
Yeah, that mix.
Yeah,
it's a reminiscent of Fugazi to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, Fugazi's, they kind of showed the way, I think.
Were they influential to you? Or
for sure. And starting with Minor Threat.
Minor Threat.
Which was Fugazi's, Ian MacKaye.
Ian MacKaye.
Yeah, and he kind of, when I first got into hardcore, that really struck me because of it was musical. The songs are good, the lyrics are good, and he's screaming, but with a sort of musical, like there's a melody to it, but it's not trying to charm you in any way, but it somehow is.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and
why do you mean it's not trying to charm you? Because it is appealing.
It is appealing, but it's not trying. At least it's a way to get in your head, but it's not trying to. If you're writing a song, you have a nice melody. You're like, this is a melody that's going to invite people in, and I'm trying to invite people to this. Is it to sing along? Is it to like the song? Is it to somehow draw you into what the lyrics or the feeling of it is? But with Minor Threat, it's like, it's more just kind of hidden in the sauce somehow. It's baked into it in a way that's subtle, because when I was a teenager and I heard it, I wasn't thinking about it in that way. But he's using about 3 notes, and within those 3 notes, he's stepping above the whole clique of bands that were coming out at that time. And then the lyrical content and just the song structure of it is like real primitive. But I mean, he probably didn't know what he was doing, I'm sure, at the time. But if you listen to it now, there's a reason that Minor Threat is like, I wouldn't say the best, but maybe I would say the best of that bunch in terms of like just pure music. Yeah,
because it's tuneful.
It's tuneful, and you can sing to it, and it's just songs, a lot of it. And so anyway, when he kind of following that thread, going from that, I mean, we're taking a little bit of a deep dive on Ian MacKaye's thing, but his influence, I think, is, I'm not the only one that kind of picked up on what he was doing.
Yeah.
I think he influenced a lot of people, but how do you follow this kind of anti-music music and then progress with that? Because as soon as you step over the line into music, you're kind of, you could lose the whole thing. It could fall like a house of cards, you know?
Yeah, hardcore, it's like a mix, I guess, of like aggression and, yeah, it's like a yin and yang happening.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, it's sort of it's kind of like cabinet making, you know? It's like, it's artistic, it's useful, but also it's, you know, something like working class about it.
Yeah. That's appealing.
That's appealing, and you feel real.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like, you know, a band like, for example, Wire or something like that.
Yeah.
When I first heard Wire, I wanted them to be more aggressive and angry in some way, although they had that.
Yeah.
But they were kind of, I thought these dudes kind of suck in a way, like musically. When I first heard them, you know, comparing them to the Sex Pistols or something like that. But I think they were really doing that well, what Ian MacKaye does, and I think Wire's probably an influence to him, where you're making this sort of primitive sounding music in a really artful way by limiting yourself.
Yeah.
You know, by making it like cabinets. This cabinet is a rectangular, this one is square, this one kind of fits with the other one to the left, and I put it on the wall at this way. It's where it looks nice to put books on it. You know? Yeah.
Like I was walking around the city today listening to Quicksand, and it makes me feel badass. You know what I mean?
Good.
Like it made me feel badass walking around with that in my head.
Right. I'm listening to Quicksand. What's up?
Not that it was like, no, I mean, not identifying like with the name but just that kind of, that feeling of that music. And it's similar to me to hip hop also. Kind of makes me feel badass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very influenced by hip hop, especially the early records. Yeah. I mean, coming up, I mean, I got into music. I could play guitar. I love music. But when I got into playing in bands, I didn't have any sort of like career trajectory or goal. So I just got into the scene, and the scene was moving along. And in New York, in the late 80s, when I was a teenager.
You grew up here?
I grew up here. And so, you know, when I was in junior high, like Run DMC came out, and it was just like singles, or, you know, kids are like breakdancing, and hip hop was evolving at the same time that hardcore was. And this was before it was like a pop thing, and it was, you know, where it's independent record labels, some of them are run by the actual artists,
run by pirates.
Yeah, it was, you know, a brief few years where, it was really just compacted and all in New York. I mean, at that time in the late 80s, I mean, there'd be some stuff coming from LA or other cities, but it was not even comparable at all to New York stuff. So that was a big influence.
Well, how do you say your last name?
Schreifels.
Schreifels.
Yeah.
Walter Schreifels.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Where are your folks from?
I mean, the name is a German name, and in German it means scream rock, which is crazy.
Are you kidding?
Because that's literally what I do.
See, this is like when you start thinking the simulation theory is real, like this type of shit.
Who's to
like
say it's not?
Yeah, like where this is all a simulation.
Yeah.
Because like where it's just like,
it's very Baudelaire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Flowers of evil.
Yeah. It can be evil, but it's Schreifels and
Walter Schreifels.
And supposedly, it was from, you know, like in German names, a lot of them are very literal to what the people did. So if your name is like Müller, it means you were a miller, or you know, Baker could mean Bacher could mean, you know, stuff like that. So scream rock was, my father told me that it was these people that would hang out in the hills And when little caravans would go by, they would scream, throw rocks, and they'd hide behind rocks and then scream and scare them and take their money and run away.
Wow.
Robbery
by scaring them. That's kind of what you're doing.
That's kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Although I'm not like
you're not
robbing
stealing.
them. I feel like I'm giving.
You're giving.
I'm giving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You are screaming with rock.
I am screaming with rock. There's no way around that.
And quicksand is something like when I was a kid, I used to obsess. I mean, the amount of time I thought about quicksand as a kid was a lot.
It's pretty heavy.
As compared to like when you're an adult, you almost never think of quicksand. But when you're a kid,
right,
it's like that's one of the biggest fears.
It was
quicksand.
pretty big. It was pretty big. I mean, it was like nuclear war
and quicksand,
volcanoes, Bermuda Triangle, quicksand.
Yeah,
it was something you always heard about but never saw.
Yeah, like
it's a myth, the quicksand.
Like if I was in a wooded area, I was like, I hope there's no quicksand in this area.
Yeah, you couldn't get out. It was like the earth is gonna suck you in.
But the cool thing is that I do know that don't struggle, and you just need someone to throw you a branch, and then then you can get. But the more you struggle,
you're done.
Probably a myth too.
That's the opposite of what you want to do.
So you were born and raised in New York?
Yeah, for the most part. I was born in Rockaway, and my parents went to school in State College, Pennsylvania, so I lived there for I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And I loved it there, and then moved back. And then I lived in Astoria for a while.
Yeah.
And Astoria is where I mean, it coincided with the time that I was getting into punk rock, and there was a community there. I mean, Astoria is where a lot of the hardcore music bands are coming from, and so I kind of just landed in the best place to be for that music.
And when did you get into music? How old were you?
Real early. I mean, my earliest memory of being like, I like bands and I'm into it was I remember it was on a July 4th because I had a sparkler. And for some reason, do you ever it's the kind of thing that kids do. I just wanted to see what it would be like to put my finger on the sparkler.
Right.
And I just burnt my finger. And I was so bummed out. So I went into my friend's house to get some ice to put on my finger. And Yellow Submarine was playing. And I just watched Yellow Submarine with like a piece of ice on my finger. And that was it. Yeah, I mean, it's such an incredible... I mean, now it seems like more... I watched it maybe 10 years ago, and it's like more disjointed, and I probably have a different critique of it, but as a kid, it was just like, this is the best thing ever, and each song is incredible.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
because you were dealing with being burned and then freezing.
It was an intense
time. And then it's coming in and blowing your mind that way. That's a lot.
It's a lot of sensory. I was probably like, I don't know, 8, 7, 6, somewhere in that little zone before you really... where you only remember a few things. And then what? And then when did you get a guitar? Or how'd you start? Was it? I think I was more closer to teenage years. My dad got me a, kind of crappy acoustic, but no lessons. So I would just kind of play around on it. And when I was about 13, a friend of mine got guitar, started taking lessons, and they were only like $5 a lesson. Yeah. So for my birthday, I got like $35, and I got 5 guitar lessons, and that was kind of got me on my way. What was the first things that you learned? Back in Black. Oh, really? Was the first song. Straight up, like you were on mountaintop right away. Straight away, I wanted to go, but I went. It was more like. Yeah. And then I learned I can't remember, but I do remember asking in this little small period of months, where I was into AC/DC and hard rock and stuff, but I was transitioning already that time into punk rock, and I asked my guitar teacher, Walter Enzer, who I still think teaches guitar in Rockaway and was the nicest, coolest guy. I want to learn the song California Uber Alice by Dead Kennedys. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I will not teach you Dead Kennedys. I find that name super offensive. That's so interesting. And then I just kind of went, okay. And I got to figuring it out myself.
I never even thought of that name as offensive until recently. Somebody mentioned that it was.
Yeah, we mentioned it with the Stu podcast.
Oh, was that it? Yeah. Okay.
The names that provoke and they mean
Yeah,
something
Stu brought
else.
that up.
I mean,
That's
it's
right.
massively offensive to people.
His band is called the Negro Problem.
The Negro Problem. Stu and the Negro Problem.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's tricky.
Which is tricky.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then he brought up the dead Kennedys, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess that would be offensive to some. But I never thought of that,
Yeah.
because when they just always were, so.
It's like especially to the my parents' generation, boomer generation.
Yeah, now that's become the
Which
go-to
sucks.
insult. Okay, boomer.
It's so lame.
That's the thing. It's like,
You know what I really am sick of is just how right now we can't think of enough ways to divide
insult
ourselves
and
and to make ourselves different from other people, to be mad at each other and identify, because we're so lost in our identities that now the millennials are pissing me off, or the boomers
Okay,
are the
boomer.
worst. Yeah, okay, it's just
okay,
let's
boomer.
stop.
It's like.
Yeah.
I know that's already done. It's already old.
It's already.
I already don't like that.
I know. It was,
the first couple times I heard it, I was like, I was into it. It was funny, but then now it's like,
so
I'm with you.
It's like, think of something original, and
Yeah.
it's just and it's funny. Right before Okay Boomer was happening, it's just like.
I mean, that just happened this week. I feel like Okay Boomer suddenly.
And a week before that, I was thinking,
the
the boomers really screwed everything up in a way. And I was getting kind of feeling something against boomers, because here we are in this crazy situation of all this heavy division, and it's here are these hippies and peace and love, cool people that had all these options.
Yeah.
Left us with this crap, and
Right.
they didn't do anything. So I was feeling resentful toward them, and then the Okay Boomer thing appears the next week, and now I'm over it. Now I'm just like, why am I pissed off at a different generation? Everybody's just trying to do their thing.
God, everybody, this is a hard world we live in.
Yeah, let's be nice to
every day. You got to get your mind state into someplace decent.
Yeah,
that's the challenge.
Let's root for each other.
I agree. I'm into that. Do you think we went to the moon?
It's funny you should say that. I thought so for a long time.
Of course.
But now I'm having some serious doubts.
I think it's only logical to have serious doubts about that. And obviously I don't know whether we did or not. But it's, I was on the walk over here while I was feeling badass and listening to Quicksand music. I thought about asking you that for some reason. I thought and I don't always ask that.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. But I was like, I want to ask him if he thinks we went to the moon, and I really don't know where that came from. Even though I am prone to conspiracy theories, because they engage critical thinking, and that's fun.
Yes.
And then I thought, well, I don't know whether we went to the moon or not, but it's at least as shady as Building 7.
They're so connected.
It's at least as shady as that.
How did it just fall by itself?
Maybe not quite as shady as Jeffrey Epstein's suicide. But there's definitely some wild shit going on that at this point you can't be called a quack for questioning it. You can't be. You can be called a quack for questioning it, but. It gets to a point where it's like, come on, it's at least questionable.
Hey, I'm quacking,
Yeah.
because
Quack.
someone just broke it down for me the other day, and we were just talking about normal stuff. Maybe we were talking about Building 7.
Yeah.
And then it naturally led into the moon landing, and my friend was just like, there's no way it happened, and he just said X, Y, Z.
What did he say? What caught you?
He had way better things.
Well, the fact that we haven't been back is to me standout weirdness number one, because that's just not the way things evolve.
To me, I could see we went there. It's a bunch of crap. Let's not go again. It's a bunch of rocks and dust.
But if we knew how to do it then.
You'd think we'd go back? Yeah.
Just for the shits and giggles.
It's a good
of
argument.
It. It's been a lot of
there's
years.
There's nothing to do there.
He said something about that. That's what I thought.
What is it? Colonizing? How do you say the word?
Colonizing.
Colonizing it. But then ultimately, who wants the hell to live on the moon?
I don't know.
It sucks.
Somebody does.
Closer than Mars.
It would be humans are bored. I mean, humans want to do things that are entertaining. That would be $1 billion industry if they're like. Can you imagine
Right.
the Instagram selfies from the moon? Like, dude, like,
Right. I mean, they're
it's
working
me.
on it.
There's the spinning globe right there, or is it? You know,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, they're
like,
working on it. Elon Musk and all these other kind of
supposedly.
billionaire oligarchs. Yeah. But the thing that struck me was about the he was breaking down some facts on the what it takes to get out of the Earth's atmosphere and the amount of power it takes, and also the amount of heat and radiation.
Right.
And that these like
the
stupid
Van
like
Allen belt or whatever that is.
It just seemed, and the suits that they have, like how like not sufficient that is.
Right. And the tin can that they went up there
and the
in.
tin foil, like it does look. Mainly the tin foil thing
does.
is like, come on,
really
what is that
does.
special?
I don't know.
What is that tinfoil made out of? Because it looks so cheesy and cheap.
But then it goes to like, what is the conspiracy for? Like, is it? I mean, I know that the argument is if we're like on a spinning ball of like infinitely small and nothingness going, in this infinite void of nothingness, it makes us seem like we're insignificant, and it disempowers us, or it gaslights our existence, so that we somehow can't get a foothold in our reality and explore how powerful we are. Whereas if this is like the main realm, say this Earth realm, we'll call it, then there is a creator, and we are significant beings. Each and every one of us is powerful. I guess that's the conspiracy.
Okay, that's a good, interesting take.
Yeah,
I guess I thought more of
like, because people say, "What's the motivation? Why would they do that? Why are they lying to us? And who's they?"
I guess what I thought would be, or maybe what someone told me, was that in the climate of that time where you have these kind of east-west ideological thing where, we're in a space race, they supposedly put a monkey up in or a satellite, so we had to top them.
Oh no, that motivation totally makes sense. The
so
moon thing.
We can't really do it, so
Yeah.
let's just say we did it.
And
it's like, isn't that what happens now? Like you don't even, the thing you're saying,
you
you can
just say
consciously
it.
know it's not true.
Yeah.
But if you say it and it hits everybody, people can say it's not true, but it takes it takes so much more time to disprove something once it's in people's heads.
Especially back then.
It takes especially back then, because there's like so less
There's not all this information.
way to answer, or in any sort of way to reach people's consciousness. So I've got my doubts. I also at the end don't know how much it matters. Okay, let's just say they totally did fake it, and I'd be like, oh well, the government makes stuff up.
Well, it matters if we don't know the nature of our reality, or if we're specifically lied to about the nature of our reality, because that means our existence is built on a gaslight or a false premise.
I assume that it is,
and it disempowers us that way because we're confused to the nature of reality. So we're easier to enslave as a species.
I think we're super easy to enslave.
Yeah.
It doesn't take moon landings. Like if you look at like cell phones, or even go back 500 years, you know what I mean? It's just like, I mean, I think religion has maybe caused more good than harm, but I mean, there's systems of control, feudalism, capitalism, all these different structures of control, and the moon landing being faked fits into that for sure. But I think in a way of like trying to break out of your own personal structural thinking is challenging enough.
And how do you do that? What do you do to do that?
I think music is helpful.
Absolutely.
Because music, you have to draw. You have to put yourself out there. You have to draw from something, and sometimes you know what it is, and sometimes you don't know what it is. And then once you externalize that, different things come into play, and those experiences break from your structure. I mean, there's things that are like highly structuralized, like I'm on tour. I know I have to be here at this time. I have to play. I see my friends. We do essentially a lot of the same things. But yeah, music is a personal means to break out, because, I do have, as much as things are the same and in the chaos, I feel a comfort and a certain amount of. I know what to expect. There is things that will surprise me and change my way of thinking about stuff. You know.
Like what?
Well, for example, you know, here I am, you're listening to Quicksand, we're talking about this kind of thing, we're doing this, we're having this moment, and I'm thinking more seriously about this moon landing thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's from another experience that I had last week backstage with these two guys that I really respect and think they're smart people.
Yeah.
And so...
What else did they say? I'm kind of curious.
These are really cool guys because they're Hare Krishnas, but they're like not
like the people that were against them were just now just rolling their eyes like, oh, Hare Krishnas, you know.
Yeah, but they're cool. They're like not the Hare Krishnas of my youth. You know what I mean? The Hare Krishnas of my youth is like
you had to say they were Hare Krishnas.
Well, I think that
I'm not against Hare Krishnas, by the way.
You shouldn't be.
No,
you shouldn't be. No one should be.
Shout out Hare Krishna.
Shout out Hare Krishnas.
I mean, the thing is,
Hari Hari.
Hari Hari to the moon.
Well, I mean,
y'all.
but the thing is that Hare Krishnas will believe certain things, or any religious person is believing things like either metaphorically or literally, right? So I'm not
Or
like
committed.
And they're this is part of their organizing principle for like how they operate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't believe in religion, there's other organizing principles in which you can do that are secular that are like, you know, completely valid and great too.
Yeah.
But they're believing things like, you know, some crazy, it sounds, I don't want to disparage it because I have total respect for it, but things that sound completely insane that help them live their lives in a positive way. So it's funny to hear them talk about moon landings, you know what I mean? Because of course they're not going to buy into that, but they will buy into this whole other fantastical story.
Right.
That's
And
a good point.
but they're just smart, cool people, and they're, you know, middle-aged Hare Krishnas. They're not like running around in robes and stuff. Although if they run around in robes, I think that's
fine.
great.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah, me
It's probably
too.
fun.
Let's go robe shopping.
I would be let's robe out. Yeah.
I wish we were in robes right now.
I'm so tight with my usual pants t-shirt combo.
what
It's just
what
like,
is this?
what am I doing?
So what did they say though?
Oh, they were just breaking down, you know, we skipped over a little, you know, we talked about Tower 7 and just kind of got into
That's so funny.
and it just went into moon landing. Yeah, so
it's so funny that I had Tower 7 and the moon landing before we did
dude,
this.
this is
Like,
this week.
That's crazy. And
Yeah.
then like we are all connected. I think of that, like the whole idea of cell phones connecting us, but it's like we're psychically connected already. There's a conversation going on with humanity already that's like more psychic than I think a lot of us are comfortable admitting to each other.
Oh man.
And without the cell phone, we'd probably have developed that to a far greater degree to where we could actually just be like silently speaking to each other right now, you know? Like,
I agree with you 100%. I mean, I think and again going to music, I think that is a real way that manifests itself. I can remember hearing like, I mean, what makes you love another artist is like that they're saying something that you're thinking, but they manifested it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
I remember hearing Nirvana. It's like, that's exactly the kind of song I wanted to write. Like that is in me.
Just about every song he wrote, I wanted to write.
And you just did it exactly in the right way.
Yeah.
And like, it's like people are thinking the same thing, but they're not all manifesting it in you know, whatever, in song, in art, in whatever.
Yeah. I think something interesting about the whole moon landing stuff is just, and one thing that makes me even more suspicious of it is people's somehow like real violent reaction to even questioning these things. Like, you're an idiot. Like, what? You like you're questioning everything that's been told to us? You're a fool. What are you, crazy? It's like, come on, dude. Like, there's at least enough clear reasons that we should be questioning things. Like, like in the very least, that's true. You know,
in a microcosm, I remember playing. I had a friend from Japan, and two friends from Japan, but one guy I knew really well. He could speak English and Japanese, and the other guy could only speak Japanese, and I can only speak English. So we're playing Risk for like a week till sunrise, the same Risk game.
Oh yeah.
And the guy that can speak English and Japanese, you know, we keep playing this game. He's beginning to win this game. But me and the Japanese guy are starting to feel that he's cheating because he's giving him information and giving me information based on, you know, because he's controlling the information.
He knows the narrative, the whole narrative.
Yeah. And so after a while, me and the guy who can't speak English are looking at each other and are just with our eyes going like,
yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're just like, Dwight, what? I mean, I shouldn't say his name.
Shout out Dwight.
Dwight's the coolest guy, and he might deny that he was doing this.
God, Dwight didn't do it.
Fair
can tell.
enough.
Come on.
But dude,
I'm going to defend Dwight, but go ahead.
Yeah. But basically, like, people that are controlling the information naturally are going to switch the narrative to the thing that puts them in the superior position.
Yeah,
not all. Some people are nicer, and I'm putting that in quotes, you know what I mean? Or more fair, again, putting in quotes. But the nature is the power is going to dispense the information in the way that suits its you know, continued position. And that's just to not question the moon landing. I don't know if it's like a combination of, you could be youthful and kind of be, you know, when you're really young and you're really you become an adult and you're smart because you're young and you're really smart and you get it and you haven't like gone through life, so you don't have the same kind of cynicism, and you might attack those, you know, structures, you know, like in a kind of Vietnam War. Well, obviously that's a life or death, but you know what I mean? In those kind of ways. Or if like you're at a life now where you have lived and you have seen, and you've seen enough lies and enough bullshit to go through that you question it and can do it from a more maybe objective and less passionate way, more just like say like, okay, you're being lied to all the time. I mean, you know, there's, what's that movie, They Live, you know, with Roddy Piper. It's a pretty famous film where you put on these glasses, and if you wear these glasses, Roddy Piper's character can see that, or The Matrix, you know, these kind of like ideas where you're not seeing what's really going on, you know what I mean? And but yeah, of course we're being lied to, and I think and people that are threatened by that, I don't judge them, but you know, the world's a scary place, and I think people are looking for things to like be predictable, so that they can navigate and deal with the problems that are coming across their plate in the way that suits them. And for that, you know, there's an exchange. You know, you're not going to see by taking on more a wider viewpoint, or like taking a wider view on things or whatever. It doesn't make you smarter. It opens you to more risk, but it also maybe is just what you need to keep life interesting and you know. So I'm not like, again, on the Krishna conscious level, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like in a I don't know, maybe that's not even a good example, but like I'm more open to believing fantastical shit.
Yeah, well, that's fun to me. Like, I think
why not?
It like terrifies some people, but like, I don't know, the nature of my reality has been sort of dismantled and rebuilt so many times that it doesn't really, like, it doesn't freak me out.
Good.
You know what I mean?
It's
but
a
I
nice
think for
place to be.
some people it freaks them out, you know? But like, because then the thing is, though, with the moon landing is it's like sort of a rabbit hole, because then it does open to the question of, are we on a spinning globe? Like, and what do you think about that?
I mean, I guess, you know, and I think it's something I said before, and I think your feeling about it, I'm hearing you, is, I guess to some degree, I think with a lot of being open to these ideas, you know, Building 7, moon landing, flat earther, you know, whatever the president says, these kind of things, like, I feel there's no way to substantiate anything, one way or the other. It's impossible. Like,
but if like,
so I'm interested.
Shouldn't there be? Like, if it, like, shouldn't the nature of this reality be sort of easy to like perceive if it wasn't suspicious at all? Like, Couldn't they just put a couple of GoPros on a rocket and send it up, and then like without a cut,
but people wouldn't believe it.
Let us see the thing. Oh, and there it is spinning, and like, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
wish they would.
Why don't they just do that? Like,
I wish there was some.
that would end the whole debate right
'cause
there.
It is spinning pretty fast. You would see the spin on a camera.
Like,
Right, it's easy to just
I
say.
just thought about that.
you
Hold
know,
on,
like,
wait a second.
yeah, like, it's just
If
like
the camera's just standing in space filming the Earth, it would be
you would see
it
it.
would be bananas.
But it
Or,
would be.
like,
It
you
wouldn't be
could-
believed. I mean, like, why? How would you believe it?
Because if there was no cut and it was just like a rocket with GoPros, you know, and it was just like they showed one shot and they showed the rocket go up and break out of the atmosphere and see the
that could
thing.
be CGI'd.
Exactly. I
I
mean,
gue-
I
guess.
love
I
that.
guess.
Unless you
But-
are the actual person and it's that important to you to like know whether it's true or whether it's
Well,
not, and you have the means.
Well, I think
There's the one
I
guy
think
that
more-
shot himself up in a rocket to do that.
Yeah.
cool guy.
don't
Yeah, he
know.
built his own rocket. And
What did he
tried-
see?
Well, he didn't go out of
What
the
he
atmosphere.
what he say?
Well, it's on YouTube. You can
Yeah.
watch him.
His
shoot
wife
himself.
is just like, oh my god.
Well,
you're
I'll tell you
such
what.
a nut.
There's another, like the guy, I guess the head of NASA or whatever,
Uh-huh.
was like on his gravestone is something about the firmament. Like there's a biblical passage about the firmament and all that, which is also another one of those like, ugh, come on, like this is
I don't know what the firmament is.
the idea that we're under a firmament. I don't know
Yeah.
either really, but
It is a rabbit hole.
yeah, it's a rabbit hole.
I guess my point is that
We can go back to music.
I'm
I think
into
we
it.
We pissed everybody off
I
already.
know. Come on, no reason to be pissed off. They're pissed off, whatever.
Yeah.
Come on. We're just discussing things. But I think sometimes I'm interested in it and how it kind of like bounces back into your own like everyday. Who's to say it like, okay, if the moon landing's fake, what else is fake?
Right.
You know what I mean? What other perceptions am I getting wrong?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, where is there truth? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think it's interesting to think philosophically how it all like affects me is some ways I feel or I could put a finger on, and some ways I don't know and don't care.
Yeah. Well, that seems healthy.
That's my system of like getting through, because
Yeah.
I do get pissed off at the news.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's so. I used to think that the news was like giving you true information. And
Well, yeah.
and it's so not. And so now it's just so apparent that
Yeah,
it's
it's
not.
so apparent
and
now.
it's so
become-
frustrating.
It is frustrating.
And even like whatever the New York Times or things that are supposed to be
Well, they got agendas, and
They have and they're so
everybody
transparent.
Everybody has transparent agendas now, and it's sort of like, yeah, it calls everything into question, which to me is like an exciting time to be alive.
It is, but I'm
You know
still.
what
I
I
have to
mean?
break. I haven't yet broken through.
Yeah,
I'm still like find myself getting like, God damn it, that's not true.
yeah, or that's bent. It might,
Yeah, or like you're
it's
trying.
partially
You're
true,
using
but you're
this.
bending it.
You're
this way.
that's more it. Like
Yeah.
you're using this to make people think that, and these people still trust you,
Yeah,
and it's not fair.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of made me somewhat apolitical. I have to say, because I just don't know what to believe anymore. Like it's like, and it's hard for me to like, just like get irate about a certain perspective, or because I don't know all the information.
Yeah, it's like the perspectives are
know?
not even the thing that pissed me off. It's just the way that these, just the. I guess it's more on the kind of New York Times side of things, because that's just like culturally where I'm more at, coming from New York City and like,
Right.
Whatever, how I grew up. I'm more likely to look to the New York Times as like some sort of source. But in a lot of times I just see it as bad as Fox, is just from a different point of view from the top power structure.
Right.
And it's like, where do we go with all this? It's
Yeah,
so
where-
annoying.
yeah.
And I find myself getting heated about it, which I don't want to do, because I don't want to, I don't want to be upset about something that I can't. Well, I could in some way affect change, but being angry isn't doing that.
No, it makes me kind of go with things that are in my sort of field of control, which is my own mental state, and things I trust, which is like it actually just reinforces my spiritual practices like yoga and meditation.
Great.
And getting my mind. There's certain things I can hold on to. Like I'm sure of Ho'oponopono, which is I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I'm sure that mantra
is real
and makes me and puts me in a place of forgiveness for myself and for others, and creates peace within my mind. I'm sure of things like that. Yoga, I'm sure of as a good way of starting my day. Like, I'm just sure of that.
Yeah,
you know?
it's right.
And things like that, and then I can throw out good vibes and do the best I can in that way. You know, I don't know.
I don't
know if that's a cop out or not, but I feel like it's at least it's like an anchor point, and then from there, as more information becomes clear, I can maybe reassess.
I think it's fortifying, and for you to be, you know, it's kind of like when you're on an airplane and the mask falls before you put on someone else. You have to put it on yourself. You have to look after yourself. You have to be fortified to play the role that you can play. And I kind of I'm of the mind that through music, through my actions, through my friendships and relationships, to like put the world in a better place in the way that I can. Yeah. You know?
What do you do towards that besides music? Do you have any kind of spiritual practices, athletic practices, hobbies, or anything?
I'm into yoga. I like to run.
I love running.
I'm vegetarian.
I got the Vibram 5 Fingers.
Okay, what is that?
That's the running shoes that are...
I need to update.
I keep showing these.
Dude, those are crazy.
Dude, they just make running so fun.
Really?
Dude. Bro, it's unbelievable. Honestly.
I need more ankle support, man. I've got weird ankles.
I'm going to tell you why you don't.
Yeah?
I'm going to tell you why you don't.
Okay, there's some science you're about to drop.
Well, because there's this book, Born to Run. Not the Bruce Springsteen autobiography.
Right, which I have read.
Yeah, I've listened to a lot of it.
No, I didn't read it, but I think he's great.
Yeah, me too. But this about like a Mexican tribe of super runners, and they like run. They're like, oh, what do you guys? Let's just like run 50 miles today for the hell of it. They do that all the time, and they do it in like tires or like bare feet or whatever.
Shit, I can't even walk in Vans in the city for
Right. Well, the idea is like because
Chucks.
Your feet are, and I've said this already on another podcast, but so bear with me, people that listen to every episode.
Thank
like,
you.
Is this a part of the plug? Are you trying to get another pair for free?
I have 3 pairs already. I'm obsessed.
I'm trying to get a pair for free.
I'm obsessed. Yeah, like, but what they do is they like, if you have like padded heels, then you heel strike and you like shock your knees and your hips, and you actually create injuries.
I believe that.
When you're supposed to be protected. But like, again, I guess it's kind of a microcosm of what we're talking about, because it's like, in a way that's like, the technology of your foot is perfect.
Right.
Like, and what it is you run more gazelle-like, you run lighter on your feet. You have to retrain, and your ankles actually have all these muscles that start to get sore, and so you're building all these muscles, and then it actually protects your knees and your hips because you're not striking so hard. So that's the idea, but it just makes it just makes something that's like, you've been doing your whole life, running, walking, like super fun again, because it's like a new like
practice.
You didn't think, this is a new practice, like, and you're building it and building better technique.
I'll give it a whirl.
It's pretty fun. You got to start out slow. You can just go run like a mile, like it's not much, and you'll get real sore in your calves and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, but there's a curve to it.
Oh yeah. No, you building it up, and then so you be like, in my yoga practice now, I used to have a problem with the balancing postures, like the 1 foot things and stuff, and then since I've been walking around and running with these, it's improved it dramatically, because it's like, I realized those like one-legged balancing postures, there's all these muscles. It's micro.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And so it's like kind of like, and then when I'm boxing too, like on my feet, it's like all of a sudden my feet, like, because when you're jumping rope, that's all about like being on your toes and like
box with those on as well?
I have. I'm boxing with these boots on now, but like I have boxed with those. It's kind of weird to box with those, but but the foot development is helping the boxing. So
cool.
And you got to get the socks to match.
The socks. I want the whole gear.
Yeah, you get the
Toe socks.
Toe socks.
Oh, sick.
You know those exist.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that was my first question. How do you put socks on? He's like, you buy those socks.
You got to get different socks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. That's fun. That's like reminds me of that episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where Jeff's wife finds a pair of underwear in Jeff's car. I forget her name, and so he makes up a story. Susie. So he makes up the story that Larry's wearing women's underwear.
Yes.
And just Larry's wearing. It's like you're wearing these
That's
little.
hysterical. I missed that episode.
Oh, it's a good episode.
That sounds.
So
funny
you're just
as
like
hell.
hanging out, but you have these different socks on, and no one knows.
No one knows. That's my little secret.
That's pretty cool.
My little toes are like, it's all of a sudden you like your toes. How many years did I just ignore toes?
I'm not thinking about my toes individually too
at
much.
all. But see, my toes, each one is a personality.
I'm mainly thinking about my two main guys up at the top of the toe of the foot.
Yeah.
They seem to be doing most of the work.
Right, but there's all these other ones. Yeah, man. So what are you working on right now? What's going on?
Right now I'm in a kind of chill zone, but I'm writing. We made a Quicksand album a couple years ago, and so starting to kind of mull around what the next record would be. And
Is it going to be Quicksand?
yeah, and also I'm always working on a number of things, and I kind of let it. I don't know if you're like me, but my phone is just full of memos.
Yeah.
Just different directions. Some of them get completed real quick, and some of them just exist if I'm just like looking for another thing. But I guess the next thing I do that's coming up is I'm doing a tour with Gorilla Biscuits in January in Europe. And it's going to be a real big tour and a lot of fun. So I'm excited
That's
for
great.
that. Yeah.
How long is that for?
It's almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is about the best time that you could do a tour. I think after 2 weeks, I'm usually good.
Yeah. Well, it keeps you sane to just do shorter spurts.
Yeah, and I have a 11, she's going to be 12 soon, year-old daughter, and my wife. I like to be home as much as I can be.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you meet her?
Just downtown New York life.
Downtown New York
Yeah,
life?
yeah. I used to live in this neighborhood too, which is nice to come back here. I had a friend that lived on Barrow Street.
Uh-huh.
But
Where do you live now?
now I live in Williamsburg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean,
Good yoga studios there.
I go to yoga for the people.
Me too, dude.
It's the best.
I fucking love yoga.
It's the best. It's the right.
I go to other ones, but that's one of my go-tos.
I think it's
as
the
well.
best. I mean, how many things are like donation based where everyone's supporting it and everybody in there is just, I don't know, the knock it out in an hour.
Yeah, it's
And
not pretentious.
Not pretentious
at all.
And I like that it's people power.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love it too.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing yoga?
Oh, probably like 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Longer than me. A lot longer. And kept it up regular, huh?
Yeah, I always have practice. I mean, I don't, it's kind of like running. Like I haven't run any marathons or anything. I just do it sort of for, like it's good to have kind of routines and hobbies, and especially ones that are affirming. If I could do a yoga class, it's like, okay, shit, I got to be there at this time. I got to get the clothes on, get the mat, make sure I got time to chill, be there, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, turn the phone off.
I turn the phone off. I need the time to, before it and after it, and, get through it. Like maybe I'm not really feeling it today. Maybe I'm really hyped up. I don't know. That's maybe I really need it. And same thing with running. It's like that microcosm of a struggle to like just do the thing that you gotta do. But when you're in there and you're doing yoga and you're in the middle of a class, and even if it's hard, the end, you've just gone through this whole saga and you've come out the other end and you remember what it was like at the beginning, and now you're at the end of it and you can contemplate that whole run. And in the middle, you're kind of like, you separate from your body, your mind separates from your body. And, it's similar to a feeling like if you're playing a good show, you know what I mean? Where
Flow state.
Yeah, you're just like, you're not really connected to the actions of your body in a way. Yeah, you're in a flow. And after I finish a good run or a good yoga class, or even not a good run or not a good yoga class, I feel empowered.
Yeah.
You know, because I've gone through, and a lot of times if I'm running, you know, I might contemplate different things that have happened, different things are coming up or something like that. It's almost like an effective...
It's meditation.
It's a meditation.
Do you have headphones on or do you run without?
I will generally run with, but sometimes without, just to...
Yeah.
Because either I can't find friggin' headphones in the house or...
I usually always run with them.
And that's my, you know, my business is, I mean, you know, whatever, for lack of a better word, business is music. So like, I want to be on a path with that. I don't want to be stagnant in that. And so like running, if I'm listening to something cool, I'm just listening and I'm not like thinking, oh, damn it, I'm sick of running. You know what I mean? Or like, I want to stop. It'll feel good to stop.
Yeah.
And it keeps me going, and I'm discovering new influences, and, you know, whether I'm thinking about it consciously or if it's just kind of seeping in, you know, it's all good.
You listen to music when you run, or mantras?
I've started to get into podcasts, but more music, because I want to just know, you know, if I'll listen to my own stuff sometimes to see like where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I like that. Like if I'm working on an album, put it on.
Like, do I like this verse needs something?
Yeah.
Or I got it for that part. You know, that'll sometimes pop out when I'm running because I'm experiencing it from a different angle.
When you're on the road, do you find yoga studios and running, or do you what do you do
on the road? I more often run.
Yeah,
because I want to see the town. It's easier to just, you know, I don't have to like get an Uber to the place. And
it's a great way to see the town. Isn't it?
I always think we'll
discover things.
These fools are sitting at the club.
Yeah, even like I'm surprised sometimes, even if you like stay overnight at some truck stop motel vibe or some like middle of nowhere. Sometimes you go on a run in those and you find like, oh, all of a sudden I'm in a nature park, or like you find like wild things.
Hell
sometimes.
It's really, especially in Europe. You can like see some, oh shit, there's like a castle back here. What the hell?
Yeah.
And you know?
It really unfolds.
Yeah. And actually when I'm in yoga, one of the places that I will go in my mind is like, I'll just find myself in some place that I went to on a run that, you know, I mean, I've gone on, you know, over the years on thousands of runs, but all of a sudden I'll be time traveling to this place and be like, oh wow, that was cool.
And don't you want to run a marathon or challenge yourself in that way, or not really?
I do want to, but I have not yet taken the steps. And I guess maybe my excuse is that I don't have enough time to really properly train. Because, you know, I just came back from a tour. You know, I'm going away next week. But, you know, people that really want to do it figure a way to do it.
Yeah,
I guess I just don't really want to do it.
You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. It's not like, it's understandable.
It would be cool because I'd be like, I ran a marathon. I know what that's about.
What's the longest you've run?
I was training for a marathon, like, I don't know, I guess 12, 13 miles. And I was training for like a half marathon, and in a class.
That's the longest I've run is 13 miles.
Yeah.
I want to outdo that this year for sure.
Yeah, I felt like then I was ripping it.
I could keep going. Like once you're there, you know, you set those goals. But like, you know, I'll do like the East River. Like I'll start around, you know, East River, around like sort of 10th east side, and then run all the way to the west, like around the whole tip, Manhattan, all the way up the west side highway to like 14th, and then run back all the way, and that's like 13 miles.
It's fantastic.
It's an awesome run.
And you finish that, and your body's just like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, talk about getting high.
You're cool.
That's better than smoking weed.
Oh, come on. Yeah, like, for sure. Smoking weed's easy.
Yeah.
13 miles, you got to, like, put in the time.
I'm trying to get this guy to get to yoga with me. I think he would love it.
Yoga's hard, I think, for sometimes people to, like, embrace.
To like start. Maybe we should go to yoga to the people. That's a good
yoga to the people is good. I think, and
I find the hardest thing is to just start. Just to commit to getting up, walking out the door.
But discipline is freedom.
I think that there's like with yoga, and I worked at at Integral Yoga when I was in, and a hardcore kind of got me more to feel chill with it. But I worked at Integral Yoga on 13th Street, right around the block, or not too far from here. And so I went to yoga when I was like 18 or 19, and But had I not had that experience, I mean, yoga scene's Eastern and cultish, and I think although now it's getting more guys are into it, it's like this feminine kind of realm. So I think that is intimidating in some ways, and also because everyone knows the poses and you don't. When you first
That's what
start,
I asked him the other day.
Yeah.
Can I just show up?
Just
I don't
start,
know anything.
yeah.
but I think if you have the
Just come with me.
idea of just being like
I'll help you.
having a friend and not caring whether you get it right because it's not
Yeah.
about getting it right.
Yeah.
It's like most things in life. It's like showing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
It's the only thing that makes me happy
That's
is,
half the battle, is
pushing
showing
myself in these ways.
so much of it, and not to put the expectation on yourself because yoga is like it's not sports. You're not going to win at yoga.
Yeah.
I mean, some people look naturally beautiful in all these poses because their body is predisposed to it. Your
Yeah.
shit can look janky as hell, but if it's connecting with all of your, with the way your body's rigged up, your body's going to go, yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
You're cool.
Did you ever have like any kind of drug problem, alcohol issues, or anything like that?
Thankfully, no. I mean,
Yeah.
there's probably people I've said really, mess up things I was rude to or something like that would disagree
I'm
with
not
me.
asking you if you're a saint or not. I'm just
Yeah,
asking
no,
you
but I
if-
never had anything where I needed to
Yeah.
get, be nothing like that really. No, I'm pretty. I think I'm pretty.
You don't have those kind of demons.
Not so much. No, I kind of have a sense.
What are your demons? Do you have demons? You must have a shadow.
I mean, I think everyone has a darkness in them, and I think it comes out through music.
Mhm.
Probably in some of my reactions to things, like will be more where I'll notice them, more observe what those demons are. Like, or especially having a child is a really good way to notice it, because if I'm reacting to whatever a situation is, and whenever I find like there was some time not too long ago where I said, listen, we're doing it because I said we're doing it. So get dressed and let's get out.
That seems like
It's okay.
That's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad.
I mean, every once in a while you gotta, drop the other foot or whatever.
Okay, so maybe it's not like some real,
It's not abuse.
no, it's certainly not abuse.
It's not abuse.
But it's like when you have a child, you're trying to like instruct them in the ways of expectations and what's right. Okay, so I acted that way. I wasn't like, I'm going to apologize now for it. But, the next day I said, hey, listen, I was mad about something else completely unrelated to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that came out against that in that circumstance in a way that like I didn't have to say it that way or whatever,
And how did your child react to that?
She appreciated it.
That's nice.
And she was cool about it.
And she's 10, you said, or 11?
She's 11. She's going to be 12.
Man. And how long were you with your wife until you had a kid?
Maybe a few years, plus.
Yeah.
I was 38, so
you were 38?
Yeah, I consider myself kind of at that time
How old are you now?
I'm 50.
Oh, okay. I'm 48.
Yeah.
About the same.
So I consider myself kind of like, if I'm going to do this, let's do it.
Right.
At that point.
That's the right age for it, 38.
I think it's I don't feel bad about it, but it's like, I have a friend that's...
I want to do it. I'm older, but I feel like I could still have time to do it.
Oh, you still have time to do it? Yeah,
You think
for
so?
sure. Of course.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, you're not the one carrying the baby, so the age isn't an issue.
I'll be carrying the baby in my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, being a father is amazing.
Yeah.
It's great. But if I see like I think sometimes that will be something where it's like, I'm not acting in the way that I want her to learn from.
Right.
And so then I'll kind of notice it. But I mean, it's not demons. I'm not like
No, that's
yelling
not
at her.
demonic.
Maybe in music, I try to like, I think a lot of my demons kind of stuff, and I don't know, I think this is maybe for a lot of people, hopefully, and I didn't come from a home of abuse, or like I didn't come from a place where
Trauma.
I had like really serious trauma. You know what I mean? I kind of got through, I think, a good portion of that in my 20s and early 30s through therapy and just living.
Nice.
When
you were having the kid, were you nervous about being able to provide being an artist?
No.
No?
I just figured it'll work out. It's worked
Wow.
it worked out till then. It'll keep working out.
That's amazing, because that faith, I still sometimes struggle with that, like a little here and there. Like, oh, is this gonna,
What are you gonna do?
I have moments of fear, usually I'm pretty faithful and I like think it's gonna work out, but every once in a while I'm like, oh no, what happened, like, what am I gonna do,
Yeah,
and then if I add a kid to that equation, I think I would panic.
I mean, the thing is like, it's your kid. You're gonna come through.
Yeah.
You're gonna figure out, I will do whatever the hell I got to do to make it work.
Did it help your music and help your craft, do you think, or it have no effect?
I think the effect that it would have is, for me, that I notice is that I'm more wise, or I'm more conscious of where my time is spent.
Right.
Where up until then, I could do anything I wanted, wake up whenever I wanted, stay out as late, do whatever, and I had a very free, easy life, which was cool. And then when it became, constrained in some ways, or reined in the fact that I had to be there for this, that, and the other, when I did choose to do something, it would be more about, okay, how interested am I in this?
Yeah.
Am I going to grow from it creatively? Is it paying? Is it, so I started to narrow down my criteria, where more is like easy breezy, and I think in that way it was helpful. So if like I'm going to do a creative thing and it's going to take me away from that, it's got to
be worth it.
In a way, I'm a little bit more discerning.
Yeah. That's
But not a jerk, not like miserly, but
Right.
but more discerning.
Just more conscious of everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome that you've built that life like that. And you only wanted to have one kid, or did you guys try to have another? Or
I guess I only wanted to have the one, and considered having a second one, but after a while, if you don't knock it out within a certain confined period,
a few
years,
because then you got to go through the whole.
You're just
thing
getting
again.
your life back, and you're like, we're out of diapers. She can do shit by herself, and it's like, do I really want to go back? We got a dog last year, and that was like, God damn it, dude.
I just did that.
He just did the whole thing.
Let me tell you, I was like, I did it for my daughter and my wife, and we got she's such an incredible dog, but housebreaking her, and at that time my wife was in LA, and I'm like potty training this dog in the wintertime, coming up and down the stairs like 10 to 12 times a day, so she doesn't shit in the house. I got worn out after a few months, but now, whatever years later, I love this dog. I come home, she's so psyched to see me. She's amazing. My wife carries more of the walking responsibilities, but when I take her out for a walk, like, we have a great time. But that was kind of going back to diapers.
What's your dog's name?
Mimi.
Mimi?
Yeah, she's
what kind?
She's a rescue from Taiwan, so she's a Taiwanese mountain dog.
Wow.
And a lot of Asian countries, they have the dog. They have kind of like Mexico, or I don't even want to categorize Mexico. Where they have a different value for dogs, and over there they even eat the dogs. So they're sending dogs over, which seems, it's not environmentally cool because they're flying the dogs all the way over to America. But she's just so wild looking. She looks like it's like one of the oldest dog breeds. So she just looks like a wild dog. She's amazing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you? I want to bring up the environment now that you brought that up.
I was hoping you would.
Oh, really?
I was hoping you'd get around to it. Yeah,
really?
Why not?
Okay.
We've been skirting around it the whole time.
What do you think? Do you believe, like, because it goes in line with our other conversation about like what can you believe? Do you believe in the sort of 12 years left sort of panic mode, or do you think that's overhyped, or what's your theory on that?
My thinking about it lately, something that's occurred to me, and it's sort of, I don't know how it's all going to play out, but I think one of the problems is, I think in people's thinking, like, we have to get in touch. It's sort of we have to get in touch with the finite nature of our lives, where, because that's the smaller, the microcosm of what's going on with our environment. It's like, I think a lot of our culture and a lot of our thinking is influenced by the thought that there's some afterlife. You know what I mean? Some people believe in it quite literally, to where like, so you start to let the guard down of what does it matter if the earth's going to die anyway? We're all going to be up in heaven, whether that's nirvana or whatever it is. The real world is not here. The real world is in this other metaphysical plane. And I think that, and not in an atheistic kind of way at all, I appreciate the finite nature of our lives. So it's like everything I do is against this clock, and it's important that this earth survive because this is our time. And we need to value it higher and
every day.
And I think our thinking is just lazy. And there's so many, sadly, power structures, people are going to be fine, you know what I mean? And if you got a situation that's good, if you're sitting on the top of a coal board or whatever, you're not going home and thinking I'm evil, destroying the environment. You're thinking something else.
I'm creating jobs. Or whatever you have to do to tell yourself that this is a cool job. You know what I mean? Or what I'm doing. They don't go home to their kids knowing like I'm destroying the world for the future, for your, they're thinking something else. If they're like thinking we're going to have enough money to send you on the rocket ship to, to this great moon colony we're building. So I'm thinking, I guess I'm concerned just the way people are considering it and how much sort of laziness there is about it, and also the feeling of You mean laziness of people that aren't concerned with the environment?
Just the lack of people to organize to affect change in a real way, because there's so much against it. Even like, Slavoj Žižek, he's a philosopher. He often brings up the example of a contemporary philosopher. Starbucks. You go to Starbucks because when you buy a cup of coffee, they're giving a nickel to the rainforest or something like that. This kind of thinking. So you go and I gave a nickel to the rainforest. I'm feeling pretty good. I drank this coffee. People. What needs to happen, I think, is that, which I think is, and not to be political on this, but just as an example, if you don't like him or think he's, on whatever policy things you might disagree with, but someone like Bernie Sanders is actually creating a people movement that is independent of all these corporate interests. And corporate interests, it doesn't mean that people out in the corporations are all evil people, but by nature, it's serving a different interest than what the human interest is. It's related to human interest, but it's not really a human interest. And I think, how do you organize a people's movement that affects change for everyone's life to improve? You know what I mean? And for everybody's life to be more easily navigated. You know what I mean? And have more potential for good times. And I think that's what it ties into the environment, and it ties into healthcare, and it just ties into like, how are human beings going to continue on? Is it going to be a Matrix kind of world, or a Brave New World, or this sort of like narcotized existence, or are we going to?
What do you mean narcotized?
Well, we're out of our heads, man. We're like looking at Instagram. We're like
narcissism type of
narcissism, yeah. But I mean, like the narcotics of
narcotics,
of advertising, of the different little alleyways we find ourselves in, and I think the environment ties into that. Do I think it's going to end in 12 years? I mean, I have no idea. I haven't done the research. I'm sure there's all kinds of differing opinions about it. I guess it's just a matter of I'm really hoping that the shit doesn't really go down until my daughter can have grandchildren and maybe great-grandchildren. I'm just hoping the best for my line, somewhere down the line that's pretty far away, and, because I want her to have a nice life. I want her to experience the things that I've experienced in a way that's, because that's the way it should be. You should be kind of.
Yeah, I just have a natural questioning now towards anything that creates like massive public fear and massive public despair, because so anything that is towards that I have some suspicion about, just because it feels like a control mechanism.
Well, for sure. I mean, there could be. I mean, the other side of the thing is.
But that's not to say that there might not, that I don't believe that there are real troubles and real dangers. That's not to say that. It's just to say there's a, because of what we were just talking about with the media and everything like that, there's just a natural bubble of suspicion that comes just underneath it.
I don't necessarily subscribe to the orthodoxy of like, okay, so we've got to make solar panels everywhere. I mean, you jump in the other car, you could just say that this is very easy to like freak people out to get them to do things that are unnecessary.
Right.
And that is the other side of it. And, maybe this is just the other argument is, this is the natural patterns of weather and all these kind of things. And there's people that stand to gain from creating fear about the environment.
Yeah, or just fear in general.
I just think as a base thing, if there's a movement towards respecting the environment, if there's a movement towards less cars, less fossil fuels, I mean, just fossil fuels, burning forests, this is not good things.
No.
If there's a movement towards doing less of that, regardless of who profits from it, like I'm for it, because you think about the suffering in the Middle East and how that suffering, I mean, it's, we're all a family. If someone is in your family is being tortured and suffering, that comes home. You know what I mean? That's part of our suffering. And I think that
we are all one.
And I think the oil, the greed and the massive effort to try to control it and how that relates to the environment, everyone is suffering for that.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at, everyone is suffering for the forests and being burned down for, because we're doing tariffs on China. They need more soybeans. So they burn down more rainforest in Brazil, which creates more environmental tragedy. And we lost all this forest. And, it's just this, everyone is suffering for this. And I think anything that goes toward alleviating that suffering, I am for, regardless if people are going to manipulate it for their own gain. I just think as a general direction, I think that's the way to go. Yeah.
Did you see the Tesla truck that just came out this week?
It looked pretty far out.
I love the way it looks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's...
Did you see it?
I saw it. It was a disaster what happened there.
Well, not really.
How was it a disaster?
He broke the window. I got to pee. I'll be right back.
They came out with the new Tesla car, and the whole spiel for it was like it was bulletproof, and the glass is shatterproof.
Oh, no.
And it's all this thing. And in the launch, somebody took like a metal ball to prove it. And like first they took a jackhammer to the door and it was fine. And I was like, let's throw this metal ball at the window.
And it broke.
And he threw the metal ball and the window like almost shattered. And Elon Musk went, oh shit. Like, oh fuck. And then he's like, let's try the other window. And he threw the metal ball at that and that too like cracked.
Damn.
So his stock like plummeted. He lost like $180 million or something like instantly just because of that. But
it'll come
they'll
back.
fix it.
Yeah.
And they already have orders for it. But it was just classic.
I don't see it catching on in upstate New York.
I know it's just like when the Hummer came out. I don't know if you remember. That was like a big like a military vehicle that went to the public.
Yeah.
And nobody could afford it. You saw rappers with it, but I don't know what the purpose of the bulletproof
why did
truck
he
is right now. But he's got money. He does a lot of interesting stuff if you watch interviews with him.
Yeah.
No, I know what happened with the window.
What?
So, because they were doing the test, like where they like smashed the baseball bat into the door.
Yeah, that worked. The jackhammer.
Or whatever, not jackhammer.
It was
sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer. Sorry. Yeah.
So, and that what happened was they did that first. It made the window come down just a little bit, so the window is shatterproof if it's flush.
Okay,
so that's what happened. But I mean, also there's like theories that it's like
whatever
that it was done on purpose because
publicity.
Yeah, and we're talking about it,
yeah,
and
true.
And it's not going to do anything to dissuade anybody from getting that. And
Whoever
plus, there's
$100
$100 buy-in for that thing. There was 200,000 pre-orders on it.
Really?
And it's a refundable $100 deposit on it. So like to get your order in. So that gives them $20 million of a.
He's brilliant.
I know it's
fine.
brilliant. It's like, and plus that's just in the first couple of days. Imagine how many millions of dollars they're gonna get to play around with. It's like, you know.
I would love to have been at that board meeting to be the guy. Okay,
it looks cool to me. I mean, some people think it looks terrible. I could get it, but I think it looks.
I think once you see it driving
it looks
around,
like Mad Max. It's like I want cars to look like I want to live in a world where
things
looks like Mad Max.
If we're here now, let's just
you know
bring
what
it.
I mean? It's like
bring it.
Besides, I also think like it's a truck. You could go touring in that thing.
I guess I don't see where the bed of it is. I've
it's
only
bigger.
seen it from the
it's bigger
profile.
than a normal. It's more storage space than a normal truck.
And it only costs $40,000.
And it looks like Mad
Really,
Max.
that's so cheap.
Yeah.
See, so that's
I'm gonna
awesome.
put $100 down on it.
I mean, just think about
because I want to manifest that.
Think about all those cars. They're like silent.
Yeah.
They're just like they're.
Is this
cool
truck
idea.
electrical too?
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. And it's
point.
like so fast, it's killing.
Got it.
Yeah. So do you ever do things like, because I want to do that. I want to buy that truck and have that truck.
You should.
And I think I'm going to do it. And I want to work on manifesting it. Do you do things like that? Do you believe in manifestation? And do you practice anything towards that?
For sure.
What's your practice?
I guess I see it in those terms would be enough of my practice. Like, is there an outcome that I'm looking to achieve here? Because sometimes you're just feeling something out. I'm not sure if I want this to work or whether I don't. And if I really want it to work, the chances are much higher if I put that into the thing that I'm doing. Because some things I can do and kind of be like, I was playing with this band Youth Today, and I'm the bass player. I like being the bass player.
Youth of Today,
yeah. Because being the bass player, I mean, in this band anyway, I love playing bass. I think bass is so essential. A good bass player in a band,
I love it.
Is it's like the intangibles of why a band is like amazing.
John Paul Jones.
Or just good. You know what I mean? And but in this band, maybe it's not any exception to it, but as maybe it's just my role in the band, I don't feel like I'm in the driver's seat. I'm more like a good team member in that. So that's kind of cool to not have to think whether it's, but in my own choices and things that are really important to me, there's a certain like, we're talking about being a parent. Like I want that to be a real success. I want to manifest her as being prepared for all these different things. There's, songs, you know what I mean? Like I need this song to be great. This is going to be one of my great ones, and I'll get into it. Some other songs I'm like, this is cool. I got to finish it, and I'm going to do my best to finish it. So maybe manifesting my ambition there is like lower, you know what I mean? And then, sometimes a song you make, you think it's your best song ever and it's amazing. And people are just like, oh yeah, cool. A song that you think is like not your best work, people are like, holy shit, this rules.
I know.
It sucks.
I like it when they say, holy shit, this rules no matter what it is.
Yeah, but I'll always take that.
Yeah.
I'll always take that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the best combination is you think it rules and other people think it rules. That happens from time to time, but it's kind of like, and The Price is Right when it kind of like the wheel hits like $1, perfectly.
It's like that green $1.
That green $1, Boom. Sometimes you'll get a, whatever the two gold ones are next to it. And sometimes you get a want you have to walk on.
What's the nicest thing a fan has told you about your work, or something that's moved you?
Generally, I don't have one exact
example
thing in the front of my mind. But, when someone will say that this really got me through something, because that is there's so many artists. And for me, the tough times, and probably for most people, in your teenage years, and, you can have tough times in your adult life that are really hard, much harder than your teenage years. But your teenage years are your introduction to things being shitty in some ways. And so, there are certain artists that got me through those times, and how meaningful that was to have that branch. So if somebody says that to me, then I feel like, okay, cool. Then I'm doing my good work.
Who did that for you?
I mean, it's not PC to say this probably anymore, but the Smiths were great.
Why is that? Oh, because
Morrissey's like a racist now, or he always was, and now maybe it's coming more.
Is he, or did he say stuff that people deemed that? I mean,
I think it's that. I think he's probably like an average English dude from the north of England.
Well, I don't know the story, but you know,
I have friends that are pretty offended by him.
I don't know what he did, but I'm just.
I think he like big upped some dude he shut someone down. This like a black artist in England, and he said he was like bitter about. I mean, it's probably being construed in some ways, but he's always flirted with right-wing stuff.
Controversial.
Yeah, but in my youth, I think his lyrics.
Smiths are
still Morrissey.
One of the best ever.
I mean, come
so
on.
It's like,
I mean, I don't want to get into that.
Whether it's PC or not. Yeah. I mean,
you
the
think
Smiths
about
are
Under the Iron
unreal.
Bridge, we kissed. Like, shyness is nice, but shyness can stop you. You know, like
there's a light that never goes out.
There's a light that never goes out. Like just these. If a 10 ton truck kills the both of us to die by your side, you know, like these little ideas are the kind of things that you can hold on. Someone is like in a place
they celebrate the gorgeousness of existence, don't they?
And I'm at times that I need it. I was completely grateful for that. In another
The Cure too.
I mean, you know, in between days, I could listen to that on forever.
Song. That's one of my favorites ever.
Or even
Boys Don't Cry.
Boys Don't Cry. I love Cats. You know, just joy, the feeling of joy of how life can be joyous.
And Robert Smith, I get the idea, is a really cool dude.
I think he is. That's by all reports.
Yeah, I've heard that several times.
Yeah, he comes off that way. And so, you know, there's artists like that just allowed you to see into a different world. And, you know, and they don't all have to be, you know, Joy Division was awesome too.
Amazing.
That really helpful to me to see, like, to feel darkness.
Did you see Anton Corbijn's film?
I think I watched a little bit of it. I have real trouble with watching biopics. It's hard to.
I love a good biopic.
If they're
almost
good.
Always like that one was particularly good.
Is it good? Okay.
I think so.
Okay, I'll give it another try.
Most biopics tend to be great made-for-TV movies. You know,
yeah.
Like I love them, but like I can't take them 100% serious.
Yeah, they're tricky.
They are tricky.
The Queen one was really good, actually.
I like the Elton John one.
I didn't see it. My daughter all of a sudden is like super into Queen, and
it was entertaining. They left a lot out.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't get as real as it could.
It was clean and it was, you know,
powerful. And he's hugely successful. You know what I mean? Where it like hit the whole country. I mean, there's so few things now that are really cool that hit the whole country. You know what I mean? Like where everyone's
on board
for something that's
consensus with Queen.
It's generally a good thing. You know, the Queen, they weren't my like favorite band growing up, but I think they're on the side of good, you know.
I've heard some conspiracy theories about that too.
Finally,
but I don't want to go into it.
Okay,
it's you know, like why?
I don't want to go back into conspiracy theories, but
we're gonna go right back.
The earliest conspiracy theory I remember.
What keep in mind, I grew up about Eddie's death.
No, I grew
Freddie?
up.
Freddie, Eddie.
I grew
I'm
up.
thinking about Van Halen.
It's not Queen related. I grew up in Israel, very removed from whatever was going on music wise. But they had that Paul McCartney is dead conspiracy theory, which I heard on the radio and I had it on cassette.
What?
And I used to like. Have
Paul
you ever heard
dead.
it?
That was in the '60s, though.
Paul is
No,
dead.
dude, Paul is dead was a huge conspiracy. Huge.
I'm not into that.
Oh,
I'm
that
not
he
into
was.
those.
There was a new guy that was pretending to be. Okay, I have
those
heard
ones.
that.
You play back number
if that
9.
is-
It's
those
like
ones
Paul is
lose
dead
me.
now.
I'm like, you know what?
Oh, dude, that was amazing back then.
Dave Chappelle is not a clone of Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
I'm not on board. That is still Dave Chappelle. He went to the gym,
Look into
y'all.
that McCartney thing.
I haven't heard that one in a while, but
It's so,
I would be all for
it.
it.
Was so detailed.
This
man.
guy's doing a great job.
It was so detailed.
I know. Those ones lose me, but you never know.
Yeah.
You just never know the nature of this damn reality that we're in.
I guess it's just like nature.
It's like quicksand.
It is like quicksand. Right back.
Right.
Full circle.
Right back.
Speaking of quicksand.
Yeah. Don't struggle.
Did you guys ever tour with any of your heroes?
Now and again.
Did you meet any of your heroes?
I've met some heroes. I feel like I met a hero recently.
I mean, besides like right now. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I'm just
joking.
It's a joke.
Yeah. I guess occasionally. I just thought I met a hero recently. Andy Rourke from The Smiths.
Oh, okay.
One of my favorite bass players.
Yeah, isn't he in New York? I see him
He lives
around,
in New York.
Yeah, I see him around New York every now and again.
He's a great guy, and we have mutual friends, and you know, I know him as like a guy, and it's so cool to just that this person that we were just talking about The Smiths, but his bass playing is amazing, and he's a very cool guy. So that's nice. I mean, I guess I meet heroes every now and again. I'm always very cautious.
Yeah.
Because
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, because you feel like you know them in some way, so your expectation is that they're going to be like your friend or be cool in this way, that they know you, and that they're going to be in the mood they were in in your imagination. It's a lot to project onto somebody.
It is. Yeah. Are you a gearhead?
If I find a piece of gear, I get psyched, but I'm not like, because I don't usually push the envelope of any piece of gear. I'll find a setting I like and kind of play within that.
Yeah. I think that's most people.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
Okay, yeah.
I got one of those Voice Live 3 Extremes. I put it on one setting.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's like I just put it off to the side, and it's like my backup mic, you know.
Okay, that's cool. I got to check that.
I don't get really that too deep. But do you like what kind of guitar do you use, and do you use like what kind of fuzz and distort? Like, because you write some killer riffs. So
Thank you.
I want to talk about
a little bit of gear.
Yeah, like your riffs too. Like, how do you come up with those riffs and all that?
I guess I just have a certain, there's a certain spark inside that I kind of get.
How do you know a riff is good?
I think it's just like anything. You feel it. If you feel cool doing it, it's probably cool.
Yeah, you feel cool doing it. You're like, that's gonna make Joe feel badass walking around New York City.
If you feel suspicious, correct. If you feel like you're trying to get away with it a little bit, then you're always on shaky ground. But if you're like, I know this is cool and it feels right.
What kind of guitar do you use?
Mostly. I've got a bunch now. I've been playing Fenders, bouncing between a few different Fender Jaguars and Jazz Masters and that world lately. I've spent a lot of time with Les Pauls, but they just got so heavy.
Yeah.
And I had a really beautiful deluxe, but it got stolen, and I just haven't gone back.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So Fender Jazz...
A Jazz Master I've been playing mostly lately.
Stolen on tour?
What kind of amp?
I have a really cool. It actually just went through. I put it in on an airline, and it didn't end up in this.
Are you kidding?
Place. Yeah, in Italy.
Did they give you money?
They did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Wow.
And they gave me. It was a nice guitar. It was like $3,500. I wrote as the number. I wish I wrote something higher.
Yeah.
But.
And they gave it to you.
They gave it to me. I mean, I had to go jump through some hoops, fill out some stuff.
Where it went. Do you ever think about that? Did somebody steal it?
I would think, between Italy and Spain, maybe it's like not cool for me to think, but
Well, it went missing.
It went missing.
So it's not like
there's
you're not,
dudes there that be like, I'm taking it.
Somebody took it.
Yeah.
It's
How do you feel when you check in a guitar?
Not good. I do the whole panic thing. Like that's when like a little bad behavior is kind of okay. I feel like when I'm about to board a plane.
And they make you gate check.
And gate, I will, but I'll like resist, and I'll resist in a kind of like semi-aggressive way where I'll be like, just like, I can't. This is like an acoustic guitar in a bag. It's my living.
Acoustics are tough.
But I mean, even though it's two electrics in a bag, it looks like an acoustic.
Okay. I've kind of let
But-
go a little bit. And
Yeah,
I
I
don't
let
bring
go.
my vintage instruments anymore.
I don't either. I understand that. I have I've been playing those Fender Acoustasonics.
Oh, cool.
They're new. And they're really, really good.
I mean, if Fender's
But, yeah.
making good guitars that aren't that expensive, and
They're kind of pricey, but they're good.
yeah, I think if you I just kind of there's a certain amount. I remember I took a flight once, like up to Buffalo for a show.
Yeah.
And it was the scariest fucking flight I ever took in my whole life. And I was like,
You took a flight to Buffalo?
To Buffalo,
I'm
yeah.
about to play Buffalo on December 7th.
Okay.
And I'm going to drive.
Yeah. I
It's
flew.
so far away.
It's far away. It's a solid drive.
Yeah.
And the flight was so terrifying, and I was just thinking, like, I might not make this one. So we made it. I took a train home because I was so shook by it.
Wow.
But afterwards, I was like, I don't know if I can do this kind of work anymore. And then
It was that hardcore?
Oh, dude, it scared the shit out of me.
What happened?
It was just a wild, like, scary, like, like lady next to me holding my hand. We're both just like, you know, that was the worst one I've gone on. And but then I realized I gotta fly.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like, who am I kidding? So with my guitars, I don't know, maybe that was just to take it to a more extreme position.
Yeah.
But like, I got to carry guitars. They got to go through this thing, and it's just part of it.
You check them.
I gate check them.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to feel like I don't even feel like carrying it through the airport because I hate carrying guitars.
Oh, I hate, dude.
It's like
I'm with you.
I want to be a lead singer. I hate the shit.
Oh, no, me too, bro. I'm with you. And
I
the
feel
dirty,
like a fool. It's heavy.
And
it's
the dirty
worst.
looks that people give you on the plane, like when you're... So funny right now, somebody is in the history of the world forthcoming. Somebody is holding a guitar on a plane right now listening to this podcast. Bro, I feel you. Those dirty looks you're getting, like, I've been
sucks.
there. Like, it sucks. People, like, I'm just like, okay, I'm a musician. Like, you know, like, yes, I get it. It's, like, annoying.
No, the people
but
don't.
It's like people don't like
People
you
don't like
at
artists.
all.
They don't
like.
They
they just look at you like, what the fuck are you doing?
Isn't your solution just to buy a seat for your guitar, as stupid as that sounds?
Like, what are you made out of money,
totally.
bro? Like, what are you kidding?
No,
like,
well,
do you like
We're like shooting daggers at you right now.
Like, what the fuck, dude?
People do it.
Nobody does that.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Yeah. If you have the money to buy
fired.
And the problem is not necessarily the space, because you put the thing in. The problem is having the thing in the first place. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Because I've thought about, and I did this actually on this last time I went to Europe. I just had a guitar there that I borrowed the guitar
I've done
and
that
bring
before.
it. But I mean, it is tough if you get a guitar and it's not your guitar, and let's say you don't like it. Luckily in this case, I liked it.
Yeah.
But if I have to play a whole tour on a crappy guitar, or not even a crappy guitar, but one I don't feel comfortable with, it kind of sucks. But it's not fun.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I like, and also like the airport security. Some like on this last tour, I tried to carry my sort of pedals through on this bag, and then when I would have to go through the gate, I had to take out my laptop, my iPad, my looper, my this, that, the other. I had like 6 of those trays, and the looks I got then was like
they all look like possible bomb triggers.
And just like, because also I get it is an enormous pain in the ass, and whenever somebody's behind me, I just think, dude, you should not be behind. Like, don't be behind me.
I'm the wrong guy.
I'm the wrong guy.
Line, buddy.
Wrong.
Line.
Like, you see that line over there with 5 baby carriages? That's better.
That's maybe more your guy.
That's better.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like.
And those little pedals add up.
Oh man.
They add up. I that is the hardest thing about this whole gig. I
travel.
And you should get your TSA down.
I know, I need to do that.
It's worth doing. And
what's your feeling about going through the
cool with it.
You're cool with it?
Yeah.
That's not to be cool with.
Yeah. What is it doing to me? Is it making me sterile?
Apparently it's not good.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it too, just because I can't.
I kind of like put my hands up in the air.
I put my hands up.
I think it's kind of cool.
I don't think it's cool. That is definitely radiation going through you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess if it wasn't
it's an X-ray.
But what is the other thing? What is the other thing?
The other thing is
Metal
pat down.
detector.
But the metal detector, that's some microwaves.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
What is that, the cool one? I don't know.
That's much better.
Yeah, okay.
I think so.
All right. Oh, well, I'm just saying, given a choice, that the experience I find a little bit more fun. you know, I don't know why. It's maybe because it's more going back to like the future thing, like, you know.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
That's how I look at it. It's like, I got to go through one of these things. This is more like Han Solo, Carbonite kind of vibe.
Okay, what about flu shots, vaccines? What's your take on those?
I was inoculated when I was, you know, I have that scar on my arm. I think that was towards the end of that. I don't really have a strong opinion about it.
Do you get a flu shot?
I don't.
Yeah.
I did.
But not for
recently.
political reasons or anything like that. I just
not
don't.
Political, just do you think it's good or bad? I guess there's like heavy metals in there. And not the kind that make you rock harder.
Yeah.
What's up with your T-shirt?
Oh, this is a band called Black Midi who I just saw in LA last week, and they were just amazing.
Oh, okay.
Really.
That's neat.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Musical instrument digital interface.
They had some of that.
That's what MIDI stands for.
Yeah, they had those elements to it, but it was in a real kind of like a hyped up Fugazi Gang of Four, but like less vocal dependent. The drummer's insane, just such a ripper. Everybody's like, I think they're all music school guys, and it's very, very cool.
What inspires you lately? These guys?
These guys are inspiring me for sure. I'm kind of a fan of and I can't remember even the names of the bands, but anybody that's in this sort of instrumental kind of krautrocky psych kind of feeling, and there's quite a few bands kind of coming up in that world, and I just like it because.
Name a couple.
I should have to look at my phone.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the
nowadays,
spot.
we'll say like or here's a good example. Bad Bad Not Good. I like.
Bad Not Good.
Yeah, Bad Not Good. They're more from the I think jazzy kind of feeling, less from the kind of krautrock, like more loose vibe. But
whenever somebody says krautrock, I think of that band New.
Yeah, or
Neu
is the German.
N-E-U with an exclamation point.
Yeah, they're amazing.
I like them.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I mean, it's sort of.
Is that krautrock?
Yeah, that's krautrock. That's classic. I mean, Can and Neu would be probably the biggest, the big ones. You know, just where they're kind of coming from an angle that British music and American music at the time were not coming from. They didn't have they weren't hit minded, but they had these kind of artistic ambitions and these sort of sensational ideas about things. I like that kind of stuff. And I think nowadays I like vocal music when it's good, but I think I appreciate not having to listen to a singer sometimes, and or that not being the main element of it.
Yeah. What about classical music? Do you ever listen to that?
I do, yeah. From time to time, I'll kind of get into that. I mean, I'll want to chill, listen to like Debussy or Mahler or something like that. But it's kind of, I won't be actively listening. You know, maybe I'll put it on in the car.
I got an app that was like a classical music app, and it was like a $15 a month subscription, but it curated all these classical things, and it's it had a lot of good reviews. And so I got it because I wanted to become smarter and listen to classical music. Yeah. But now I never listen to it.
Turning your back on that idea?
And and now it's just like a $15 charge every month that I feel guilty about. But I'm just gonna have to I don't know how I gotta get rid of all those things.
I know. I feel like there's a bunch of these guys just collecting $15 from me.
$10 a month.
Serato DJ thing. Those guys are getting. And I just did one DJ gig, and I was like, okay, I need some software for this. I did one, and I'm probably paid,
$500.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, I got to get off, but then that means I have to get on their website.
Like gym memberships.
Yeah.
I have the one. What is the one where it's $10 a month? Give me a name of and I don't want to plug them because they're
the app.
No, the gym. Where
I'm on that one.
You sign up. What's the one with the purple logo?
Blink.
No.
Planet Fitness.
Okay.
I think it's Planet Fitness where it's $10 and
so cheap.
And then when you want to cancel it, which I've tried, And unfortunately, I signed up like upstate somewhere.
Uh-huh.
They will not cancel it online or over the phone.
Right.
You have to go to the place where you got the
That
subscription.
is just bad.
And cancel in writing. Like you have to submit some letter.
Yeah, they're trapping you.
And it's unbelievable.
That's insane.
It's impossible to cancel.
Yeah. You got you.
And I
you
see
know.
that $10 a month charge, and I'm like,
Oh, that would just they're stealing from you. That's just wrong.
This is a conspiracy theory for sure.
They're everywhere. They're freaking everywhere. I mean, that's just a racket. It's a racket.
It's a racket,
Planet
yo.
Fitness.
What else? How long have we been going on with this one?
An hour 40.
Damn,
I was
fellas.
curious.
That's a
I just
long
had
time.
one question.
Yeah, let's
for
wrap
you.
it up.
Just related
we gotta wrap this shit
I
up.
got stuff.
Related to Quicksand.
I got a box at 5.
Yeah, I got
I
stuff
did
to
a
do.
6-minute plank yesterday.
Holy
So the-
Shout
cow.
out to
The
my
two-
6-minute plank.
Damn.
The two main
Liz
bands.
Ramon.
Respect.
The two main bands you were in were Gorilla Biscuits and Quicksand.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Gorilla
who both
Biscuits.
Yeah.
kind of like
Legendary.
broke up,
Yeah.
and then now they're both
Yeah.
active again. And in Quicksand, you're the lead,
Yeah.
and Gorilla Biscuits, you're not.
Yeah.
So how do you balance those, and where are both those bands going? Why'd they break up? I don't know if you have time for all this, but
I mean, I could field it pretty quickly. I think. I mean, it's sort of a real blessing that the music, the quality of the music, continues to speak to people. So we have new fans, and along with the older fans that were there from the first run that stay with it. And Gorilla Biscuits is more like we are presenting this experience, in its like complete authentic way as what it was and as it is. Like we're all friends, we're hanging out, we're putting on. This is like a celebration of a community and a sort of culture. And that's how I see that. And, I feel super blessed to be like traveling around the world with my best friends from high school. And, we're
But you
still
just
together.
said you hate travel. I'm just kidding.
Okay, well, I don't like the travel. I like being in places.
I was just joking.
And then with Quicksand, that's more of an active thing. So it's a creative outlet, and it's and while those other components are true with similar to Gorilla Biscuits, there is like a certain celebration of something that happened before, and you're kind of like, say we're talking about Greg Dully, like Afghan Wigs, like they were that time, but they are also contemporary, and that's kind of what that's about. And why the bands broke up, I mean, they're different. The reasons that's the nature of bands and everything,
and it's also the nature of bands to get back together.
All things must pass,
Yeah, exactly.
And what it is now has a context with that story, but it is also there's a now context as well.
Isn't time fascinating?
Hell yeah, dude.
Like I think of it like like it makes me think of this lately, like what it teaches you, like with the benefit of getting into your 40s, right, in your 50s or whatever, is like enough time passes to where you start thinking like, even like moments when I've been like super struggling, like I'm nostalgic for those moments because those moments were life, and life in and of itself is so like amazing.
Awesome.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's truly what it is.
Yeah.
That it's like, and then so what can you do with it now is understand that this moment you will one day be nostalgic for this, no matter what's happening in a way, just because for the virtue of the fact that you are alive right now.
For sure.
And I feel like being in bands and the way we get to document times is like such a benefit in that way, because it kind of provokes even that sort of specialness of the period.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's a celebration. And it's like, yeah.
Well said. I agree with you. I mean, it's through music and especially that there's more photographs if you're on stage, or you could see like this time. I mean, that's probably true for anybody's life. It's documented to some degree or another, even if you don't have a lot of photographs.
Yeah, but there's this record.
A record.
Sonic record.
Where you can play it and be like, oh man, I'm right there. And what was going on? What was so awesome about this at that time and how it spoke to me, or in my own work, was like, damn, dude, I was a genius at that point.
Right.
But here's what's missing. And what was I thinking at that time? Like, was I enjoying that, or what was my relationship to that?
Right.
Like you know, it all seemed so hard, but it wasn't that hard, actually. It was massive, awesome.
It was
you know what I mean? And that is pertinent to now, you know what I mean? Like, this time is awesome. This is awesome. Where one day you said you were going to look back and be like, damn.
Yeah.
That was a cool day. It was like 50 degrees
Yeah.
in late November.
Yeah.
And we were walking around looking good,
Yeah.
standing up straight.
Yeah.
Things are
Listening
cool.
to Quicksand.
Things are
Listening
cool.
to Quicksand.
Feeling like a badass.
Talking about the moon landing. Questioning stuff.
Questioning the moon before they found out that we definitely didn't go.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
When that truth finally comes
Just
out.
kidding, truthers or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, I don't know.
So, on that note,
On
I wish we could all just jump into a Tesla truck and
And tour the world.
tour the world,
Yeah.
drive around in that
Let's
sucker
do that.
with all that bed space and
Yeah.
and just continue the conversation. But
Yeah.
Each
Until
of
that-
you in your own.
Until then, yeah. Let's race. With
I'm thinking the three of us
three of us.
in that truck. I mean,
In
there's
one
more
truck.
space in it.
Yeah.
And just talking.
We got it.
You know,
I'll pitch it to Elon next time I see
Hey,
him.
Walter, thanks for doing this.
my pleasure.
You're a cool dude. Pat
Aw.
Pat loves you. Is always like wanting us to get together and talk. and
He's so cool.
I'm happy
Shout
to
out, Pat.
shout out to
Shout
Pat
out to Pat.
Higgins,
Pat, thanks for making it
Mr.
happen.
Higgins. Yeah, just thanks for doing it.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it. And tell everybody like where to find you
I will.
on like Instagram. I mean,
Yeah,
or
give me
whatever.
a tag for the podcast. I'm gonna put the word out for this.
No, but I
no,
mean
but
like
tell
tell
them
them right
now.
now.
That
Oh, yeah,
way.
like
Oh
what-
yeah. Walter Schreifels is my Instagram. So it's
At Walter Schreifels.
Yeah, at Walter Schreifels, and that's. I mean, it's kind of complicated, but
Quicksand,
I'm
too,
get into Walter and then SCH,
And you're in
and I'm
there.
gonna pop up.
Yeah, you're gonna pop up.
Yeah, don't you don't think you have to work
CH.
too hard.
And the bands
I see.
still have.
Quicksand, Gorilla Biscuits, Youth Today. I mean, I have such a long resume
Youth
of bands, and also I put out a solo record.
I wanted to ask you real quick.
Yeah.
When you're in yoga practice, you know, like the kind of mellow jams they play in yoga.
Yeah.
Do you ever think like I want to make mellow yoga jams? Because I do.
Oh yeah, for
Don't you?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I want to get what's off my plate now, so I can clear away
To make mellow yoga.
to make
jams?
a yoga jam.
Yeah.
You know, and really just sync up.
Maybe that's what we should tour in the Tesla is yoga.
Go to
rock.
yoga studios.
Yoga rock and just like yeah.
Hey, yoga's a very fast-growing movement. This is the golden era to jump in the game, I
Yeah.
think, for yoga
Cash
rock.
out.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Walter.
Hey, pleasure.
Pleasure, man.
Pleasure.
See you later.
That was a lot of fun.
That was too.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe how long that one was. Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/come to where I'm from. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated.